remember, don't forget what we already covered on dead balls and live ball fouls. Um, those are very important to remember, even even though we're going to be continuing talking about passing and handling the ball and fumbles and pass interference. So remember, section one is dealing with all dead ball fouls, illegal snap infractions, disconcerting acts, and we looked at all different false start and things of that nature. And then when we get into section two, we talk about live ball fouls, illegal formation, illegal numbering, illegal shift, illegal motion. And remember, we handle those all differently depending on if it's a foul simultaneously with the snap, means it's a foul that happens at the snap. So we just throw the flag and let the play develop. Or it's a dead ball foul. We do not allow the play to happen. We blow the whistle immediately. All right, so handling the ball, section three. All right, so rule two, handling the ball is transferring player possession from one player to a teammate in such a way that the ball is still in contact with the first player when it is touched by the teammate. So that's in Rule 219.1. Remember, we didn't have a section on Rule 2. We're just going to blend them in as we go. All right, Rule 732. All right, no player shall hand the ball forward beyond the line of scrimmage and after a change of possession or team possession. So if there's a fumble and the other team picks up the ball, we can't have any forward handling. All right. And forward handling occurs when the runner releases the ball when the entire ball is beyond the yard line where the runner is positioned. So if I'm on a 12-yard line, if I hand the ball off in front of that, a 13, that's all considered handing the ball forward or forward handling and handing. So, and remember, if it's beyond the line of scrimmage or there's been a team change position, is not allowed. Is a foul. All right. Now there are exceptions. Now, last week we talked about there can be no planned loose balls in the vicinity of the snapper and those adjacent to the snapper, like the guards. But no, the rule does say that if the ball is loose, it has to touch the ground or a back before it can touch a lineman. But then they did also include another rule. Well, it doesn't include the linemen that are the snapper or adjacent to the snapper. Now, there are some exceptions to that. And so when can we hand the ball forward to a lineman? All right. The lineman must clearly be facing his inline. So that means he got to turn around. By moving both feet in a half turn. So in other words, he can't like just take one foot, look back and get the ball. He literally have to clearly turn both feet in a half turn in order to be able to receive a ball handed to him legally forward. And is at least 1 yard behind his line when he receives the ball. All right. So they put a lot of stipulations on a lineman receiving a forward handoff. He has to be facing his inline, both feet have to turn, and is at least 1 yard behind his line when he receives the ball. Now, what about a bike? All right. Who was on the end of his line and was not the snapper or adjacent to the snapper. Again, they got it in there. They got stipulations about the snapper or anybody adjacent to the snapper receiving a forward handoff. I mean, if they get it, they have to do a half turn, face the goal line, and be 1 yard off the line of scrimmage. But for a back or a teammate, they don't have for a person on the end of the line, like a tight end or whoever's on the end of the line, they don't have to do that. They can just be on the end of the line and still get it and but not be the snapper or adjacent to the snapper. All right. Any player may hand the ball backward at any time. So anywhere on the field, after change team possession, it doesn't matter. We see a lot of cool plays where they hand they're actually throwing the ball backwards, but anything backwards or behind you, behind your forward progress is legal. It's just the ones that handing in forward is not legal. All right, that's it for section 3. Very simple of handling the ball. If you have any questions at the end about anything on section 3, you'll be more than welcome to answer those at the end. All right, so fumble and backwards pass. All right. Rule 741, during any down, any player in possession may make a backward pass or may lose player possession through a fumble. And here getting back to Rule 2 and definitions, handing the ball is not a pass. Loss of player possession by unsuccessfully executing of attempt handing is a fumble. So if I'm handing the ball backwards and the ball drops, it's a fumble. If I'm handing the ball in front of me and it drops, it's a fumble. It's not a pass because remember, handing is when it's touching two players at the same time. Now, if you pitch it forward and he drops it, it can be ruled as a shuffle pass, incomplete pass. But if we're both touching it and it drops, it's considered to be a fumble. All right. A fumble is any loss of player possession other than by handing, passing, or legal kick. And we know a fumble is losing possession of the ball, of player possession. Now, a backwards pass is a pass thrown when its initial direction is parallel with or toward the runner's end line. Now, in the rule book, there's no such thing as a lateral pass. All right. Either the pass is going to be backwards or it's going to be forward. If we're on the same yard line or going back toward our end line, all that's considered backwards. So a lateral pass is actually a backwards pass by definition. A forward pass, if you see the dotted line, all he has to do is be a foot past that dotted line, and then it's considered a forward pass. But if I'm lateral or parallel and going backwards, all that's considered a backwards pass. All right. So a snap is a legal act of passing or handing the ball backwards from its position on the ground. So we're going to see here, it was a pass, a snap, he lost possession of it, he picked it back up, and he throws a pass. And actually scores a touchdown. So even a snap is considered a backwards pass. All right. It's a backwards pass from the position on the ground, which means it's live if it hits the ground. It's a fumble. Just like any other backwards pass, it's a fumble. And like a receiving team can still pick it up and still do what they have to do. Or, again, anybody else can pick it up as well and run the pass. Hate when it does that. Give me a second. All right. If a fumble or backwards pass is caught or recovered by any player, he may advance. So we see. So what we see the quarterback got flustered, got caught in the pocket, and he threw a backwards pass. He just threw it on the ground. Now that is not intentional grounding because intentional grounding has to deal with a forward pass. So he could actually threw it out of bounds backwards, and the ball would have been spotted out of bounds backwards, and it wouldn't have been a foul. So throwing the ball away backwards or in a backwards pass is not a foul. It's just a backwards pass at the ground is a fumble. And we see that the defense picked it up and they advanced it and scored. So again, he get flustered, don't know what to do. He throws it. I'm sure he got in trouble with that from his coach. Like, what the hell are you doing? And touchdown. Right. And you see him there yelling at it. Should not be a incomplete pass or something. Shouldn't the ball be dead? But nope, it's not. All right. And boom. All right. All right. So the ball belongs to the passing or fumbling team if a fumble or backwards pass goes out of bounds between the goal lines, becomes dead inbounds while no player is in possession. And I wish I got some videos, but notice if, and you'll see this a lot with like with a runner running, he's running toward the goal line to score end zone, and he think he's in, he drops like inches before the ball crosses the end zone, and it just sits there. And no one is trying to pick it up because they thought he scored, right? Well, if no one attempts to pick it up, the referee will blow the whistle, or the covering official will blow the whistle, and the ball will be dead at the spot of where he dropped it at, and it'll still be their ball. All right, becomes dead inbounds while opponents are in joint possession. So let's always remember this, because we see this a lot with players diving for the ball or whatever case may be. Anytime there's a joint possession, the ball is automatically dead. There's nothing, there's no fighting for it. There's no, let's see who has it. If you see two players in possession of the ball, it's automatically dead, and it belongs, if it's a scrimmage play, it belongs to A unless it's fourth down and they didn't reach the line of gain. If it's a kick play, it belongs to R. When there's a dead ball, a joint possession, the ball becomes dead automatically. All right. Now, if a fumble or backwards pass is out of bounds behind the goal line, the ball belongs to the team defending that goal, and it will result in either a touchback or safety. And when we get to Rule 8 next week, we will touch on this a little bit more. I'm just reading it, just covering in the rule book right now, but I'm not going to spend much time on it now. We'll spend time on how can you determine if it's going to be a touchback or a safety. All right, so forward pass classification, this is what I really want to get to and spend a majority of our time on. All right, let's get started. All right, so passing the ball is throwing a ball that is player possession. In a pass, the ball is travel in flight. All right, very simple. A forward pass is a pass thrown with its initial direction toward the opponent's end line. So remember, it on a dotted line I showed you, as long as it is a quarter pass parallel or lateral, it's considered a forward pass. All right. And a forward pass is going beyond the neutral zone if any time during the pass the entire ball is beyond the neutral zone. All right. It is a legal forward pass. A player A throws the ball with both feet of the passer in or behind the neutral zone when the ball is released. Only one forward pass may be thrown during the down. Rule 751. So again, it's always good to break paragraphs down, so that a lot of them it's all clustered, and sometimes it's hard for the brain to comprehend. So I like to, when I read big paragraphs, I like to break them down. So basically, a legal forward pass is by team A. So only team A can throw a legal forward pass. So if there's a change of team possession, B cannot throw a legal forward pass. 2, both feet are in or behind the neutral zone when the ball is released. And 3, only one forward pass may be thrown during a single down. So that makes a legal forward pass. Those are the only things that needs to happen to be a legal forward pass. So let's go ahead and look at So let's go ahead and look at the things that are illegal. Since that's what's legal, what makes it illegal? All right. A pass from beyond the neutral zone. All right. So any passes that the passer across the neutral zone and throws it, it becomes illegal. So we right here, the ball is going to be snapped from the 19-yard line. And let's see where he releases the ball. So everybody in position. And it's also very important to talk about this. This is why it's so important to have pregame and have discussions with the game officials prior to the game and who's going to have what responsibilities. Because here we go. He's snapping the ball from the 19-yard line. He scrambles. He's at the 20-yard line when he releases the ball. Now notice no one threw a flag. Where is a first down, or I don't know if it's a first down because they wind the clock. I'm not sure, but they're moving everyone up. No one saying anything. Everybody's coming up. Chains bun move. We got first down. Everybody's winding the clock. Again, step from the 19. So the question is now if you look at the mechanics, it looks like they're doing 6 or 7 man mechanics. Or I'm sorry, 6 or 7 person or crew mechanics. Politically correct. So the thing is, if they're doing 6 crew mechanics or 6 person mechanics or 6G, um, why the line judge moves so fast down the field, or where's the head linesman at? Who is um guarding the line of the neutral zone? Is the referee looking where the ball's at, where the ball's being tossed? Is he there dropping a beanbag? There's a lot of things going on here that, again, with pregame, we can talk. Hey, if there's a pass, who's going to have it if the passer like the pass across the line of scrimmage? If you look at the umpire is on the 20, so he did move up. The ball was snapped from the 19. He's facing somewhere else right now, so he could be looking at some potential problems with some linemen, which could be true. But again, it was missed by a crew of 6 or 7. So again, who responsibility is it to make sure that the passer doesn't cross the line? And we see the line judge, he released early, walking down the field. His back is when he turned his shoulders, which he shouldn't have turned his shoulders. So again, who was it? Who messed up? Who should have got that? Somebody should have dropped a beanbag on the release, anything. But he was definitely beyond the neutral zone when he snapped the ball. All right. So an illegal forward pass is a pass after team possession has changed during the down. So again, if the down has changed, we cannot throw a forward. No one can throw a pass after the ball is a backwards pass. Yes, a forward pass. No. Right? Or throw a second or subsequent forward passes thrown during the down. So in other words, if you're throwing one, you can't throw another one. You can't throw 2 or 3. That rule actually was changed in 2007. Prior to then, you could throw multiple forward passes, but they changed it in 2007. So now there is another one, intentional grounding. We're not going to cover that one right now. We're going to go through a little bit more, and then we'll touch that in detail on intentional grounding. But we just covered these 3 so far of illegal forward passes. So what's so unique? Unwritten National Federation High School rule. All right. So again, a legal forward pass. It is a legal forward pass. A player of A who throws the ball with both feet of the passer in or behind the neutral zone, and when the ball is released, and it's okay, only one forward pass, right? So in the National Federation Football rules topic book, and This has been in the rules topic book since I've been buying these books since 2003, 2004. I've been buying these books. I throw them away, obviously. I'm not a hoarder, kind of, sort of, but not bad. And in this rule, in this, when I was reading the rules by topic, and again, it's this book right here. As I was reading this book, it says this when I was reading over passing. It said in simple terms, the passer may cross the line of scrimmage, retreat behind the line, and throw a pass as long as both feet are behind the line when the pass is thrown. All right. Let me get somebody's on. All right. So it is legal it's legal to go past the line of scrimmage and come back, because in the National Federation of High School rules, the only requirements to be a legal forward pass is that he's behind the line of scrimmage when he throws it. There's only one forward pass, and it hasn't been a change of team possession. All right. So that's very important to know. And I always tell this story. I don't know, about 8, 9 years now. I'm not even sure. It was a mid Florida game about 9 years ago. It was I think a semifinal game, and we actually had that. We had a quarterback scrambling, crossed the line of scrimmage, came back, threw the pass in the end zone, scored a touchdown. And all I had from the defense was he crossed the line. And I said, yeah, but when he threw it, he was behind the line. Well, let me tell you, they hated me for like 5 to 6 years after that. They're like, that's not football, that's not legal. And I'm like, yeah, it is. So now in NCAA, it says that once you cross the line of scrimmage, you can no longer throw it for a pass. In the NFL, it says it. Once you cross the line of scrimmage, you can no longer throw it for a pass. It does not say it in the National Federation of High School rules. And we always remember, if a rule doesn't say it's illegal, then it assumed that it's legal. All right. And again, so just remember that. And if you learn anything from this course in class, there you go. All right. So let's talk about eligible receivers and ineligible receivers. The offense team is divided into 2 classifications on a legal forward pass. It's only when we're talking about legal forward passes, then we got to talk about eligibility and ineligibility on the offense. All right. So what does it mean to be eligible? In Google, it says that having the right to do or obtain something, satisfy the appropriate conditions, and it says permitted under football rules to catch a forward pass. All right. So the offense divided to eligible and ineligible. That means those who are eligible is permitted to catch the ball, to catch a forward pass, and those who are ineligible are not permitted, and they don't have a right to obtain the ball, or they don't meet the appropriate conditions to be eligible. All right. So an eligible receiver can bat the ball, they can muff it, or they can catch it. All right. So an eligible receiver can bat, muff, or catch a forward pass. All right. So eligible receivers. Team A can only have a total of 6 eligible receivers on a legal or any illegal forward pass. Only can be 6. It won't be 7, won't be 8, won't be 9, only 6. And it's only going to be 6. Why? Because remember, there have to be 5 players on the line, number between 50 and 79, which are ineligible numbers. So you take 5, subtract from 11, will give you 6. All right. So uniform, 0 through 49 and 80 through 99, these are eligible numbers for pass. And by position, All right. So a player on the end of their line of scrimmage and a players legally behind the line. So those who are eligible receivers, they're eligible by number and they're eligible by position. And there's two different positions. The position on the line, you got to be the last person on the line, or you have to be in the backfield, legally in the backfield. All right. And all B players are eligible. All right. So all B players are eligible to catch a forward pass. So it's 11 versus 6. All right. All right. So an ineligible receiver, his teammate will always have a minimum of 5 ineligible players slash receivers on a legal forward pass. All right. It can be more if somebody's covered up. However, but right now, a minimum of 5. All right. The uniform numbers and by offensive position. All right. So at the snap, at least 5 players on their line of scrimmage must be numbered 50 through 79. All right. So by position, it means to be covered up. I think it's going to go over here. All right. So what are some restrictions for the ineligible receivers? So after the snap, an ineligible receiver can only go as far as the expanded neutral zone and in blocking, which is 2 yards. Okay. So they may not advance beyond the neutral zone. Beyond the expanded neutral zone before a legal forward pass has crossed the neutral zone in flight. So they can block, and once they engage alignment, they can push 2 yards. Typically, they go into a pass block protection. They back up. Um, they can push forward, but they're only allowed to go 2 yards. All right. And the neutral, so again, the neutral zone may be expanded following a snap up to a maximum of 2 yards behind the defensive line of scrimmage in the field of play during a scrimmage down. All right, so we're going to see the ball snap from the 27-yard line. So if you look right here, number 65, I believe it is, right here. Let's go back over it again. So the ball is snapped from the 27. I hate when that happens. So the 27, you get 2 yards, right? So that's 27, 28, 29-yard line. So they can't go past the 29-yard line. So right here, let me get a highlighter. Hold on. So they can't go past this point here on the play. Oh, sorry. You disappear, please. My gosh. There we go. All right. So on a play, he actually goes down further and actually make contact with a defender. All right. Now, we're going to cover this, but the contact, because it's way past the expanded neutral zone, it actually be pass interference. It won't be ineligible downfield because he actually made contact. Is an ineligible downfield is to have 2 fouls, ineligible downfield on a forward pass, and contact by an ineligible on an eligible on a defender. So that's actually 2 fouls. It's not just ineligible downfield, it's ineligible downfield and pass interference. All right. So ineligible receiver restrictions. All right. may not bat, muff, or catch a legal forward pass. And all those are intentional acts. So to bat it, muff it, or catch it, all that means I'm trying to bat it on purpose. I'm trying to secure it on purpose, and I caught it on purpose, right? So if it hits me in my back, it's not considered um, illegal touching because it hit me. But if I bat it, muff it, or catch it, it's illegal touching. All right. And again, these are all intentional acts. Fouls for illegal touching. All right. So those are illegal touching. All right. So ineligible by number. All right. Team A players who are numbered between 50 through 79 are ineligible receivers. All right. An ineligible may not become eligible by position at the snap. So, unlike the NFL, ineligible number cannot report in to the referee and to let him know he's eligible. If you're weighing 50 to 79, you are ineligible. Don't matter if you're the end of the line, don't matter if you're in the slot, don't matter if you're a back, a running back or slot or whatever. You can be in any position you want as long as you got the 5 on the line. However, if it's a forward pass, you can't go downfield, and you cannot catch or bat or muff the ball. All right. So if you look at this diagram here, we have 75 on the end of the formation. Now the question is, do they have 5 on the line? 50 through 79. They have 6. They got 72, 77, 63, 57, 64, and 75. Right. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is fine. You gotta have a minimum. All right, but the only ones that are eligible are 86, 15, 31, 5, and 84. So you only have 5 eligible receivers, although you can have 6, a maximum of 6. You only have 5 because we have a lot of ineligible numbers in the game. All right, so 75 is on the end of the line, but he's still not eligible, even though he's the one in the line because of his number. All right, so you could be ineligible by position. All right, so team A players who are between the ends covered up on their scrimmage line. So let's see. This may cause a receiver who has an eligible number to become ineligible by position at the snap. So if you look at this, number 81, although he has an eligible number, because 86 is on the outside of 81, that means 81 is covered up, and 81 by virtue of position is an ineligible receiver. And as game officials, we have to recognize that. We got to say, we got to signal, talk to each other, point. Hey, we got to be mindful of 81. He's covered up. Most of the time, this is going to be a run play anyways. When you see stuff like this, however, it's still good to know that just in case it becomes a pass play. Now, if they go in this formation and then 86 shifts back off the line, then now 81 become eligible. But again, if it snaps like this, is ineligible. But if there's a shift, then 81 become eligible. And then remember, 72 on the other end, although it's in a tight end position, is ineligible by number. All right. So ineligible by illegal position. And we talked a little bit about this last time. A back in an illegal position, the no man's land, are in limbo. So number 88, he's not on the line because he's not breaking the waistline of the snapper. And he's not clearly in the backfield because he's breaking the waistline of his teammates who are breaking the waistline of the snapper. So that puts 88 in an illegal position, which makes 88 an ineligible for a pass play. Now, again, we're talking rules. There's many games we can show that officials just completely ignored the illegal position. And I always say, I don't know why. I don't know how a lot of us, we decide, what's important, what's not important. Should we call it? Should we not call it? I think a lot of times why we don't make these calls because we just don't want to deal with the coach and try to explain to the coach this whole theory or the whole rule about he's in a illegal position. You can, so to just so we don't want to argue with the coach. We decide not to call it. Right? It may be trivial, but the rule book talks about it. And in the same rule book talks about encroachment, it talks about illegal position. The same rule book talks about false start, talk about illegal position. So I know we like to decide, what's we like to call and not call. But again, if this is something you don't want to call, that's on you. Rule 119, you make a decision on what you want to make a call on. I got to respect that. But I want to make sure you understand the rules. In youth football, we see this a lot. And I do try to educate the coach. Hey, he has to be back. He's too close to the line. He's in an illegal position. All right. This may create an eligible receiver by number becoming ineligible by illegal position at the snap. All right. So restrictions are terminated. So the restrictions on the ineligible receivers, 50 through 79, they can't muff, bat, or catch a forward pass. They can't go no more than 2 yards or past the expanded neutral zone. Those restrictions are terminated if B touches the pass in or behind the neutral zone. So if B goes up, like number 76, and if 76 touches that ball, then all the restrictions are off. B can run downfield, B can catch it, muff it, catch it, and run if B touches the ball. All right. An illegal touching after B has first touched the ball. So ineligible downfield, B touched the ball, doesn't apply. Illegal touching, if B touched the ball first, it's terminated. All right. So all A players become eligible when B touches a legal forward pass. So is this illegal touching or not? So we see the pass. All right. So an eligible receiver touched the ball, number 6. But then 52 caught the ball after that. So remember, it's after defense touched the ball. It was by an offensive player, his teammate. So this will be illegal touching because it has to be touched by a defender before 52 can catch it. All right. And again, it all depends where 52 is at on the field right now. If he's within his 2 yard span neutral zone or if he's beyond that. All right. All right. Let's move on. All right. So in the Prep Football Manual 2016, it says strange lineups are fun for fans to watch and for coaches to invent to try to deceive the defense. But officials have to know what Team A setups are legal and what deserves a penalty flag at the snap for illegal formation. You cannot be caught off guard when players are uncommonly positioned during football contests, so be ready. All right, so this is, I think it's 2014, Alabama versus LSU, uh, in overtime, and Alabama comes out with this play. Did everybody catch that? All right, let's go back and look at it one more time. So if you notice right here, we have 74 going out in a 74 right here. He's going out into a pass formation, all right, as a wing. And then over here, we have a person at the end of the line over here. And so that's the one who catch the pass. Oh, I hate myself. All right, hold on. One day I'm gonna get good at this. I'm trying to use the markers, and when I use the marker, it won't let me go back to my screen. So let me see something here. All right, you're not gonna let me go. Let me see. How do we go out of here? Come on. All right, whatever. So let's move on to the next slide. All right. So this guy's actually a tight end, and this guy's actually a right tackle. All right. Um, so we got this really weird formation. So the question is this formation even legal? A legal formation. All right. If you notice, um, let me see here. Come on. All right. All right. So to be a legal formation, we got to make sure we have 5 players on the line of scrimmage, number 50 through 79. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we got 5 players on the line of scrimmage, 50 through 79. So that part is legal. The next thing is we got to have a minimum of 6 people eligible to receive the ball. I mean, off the line. Let's go off the line. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 5 on the line that are 50 through 79, and we have 4 players in the bike field. So far, so good. So how many eligible receivers we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So far, this formation is legal. The thing is, we have to make sure that it takes everybody. I'm sure they told the officials what they was going to do, and the officials gave them the go ahead, as long as those things are set up. But it just shows you how important it is to know who's eligible, who is ineligible, who's in the backfield, who's on the line, because what happens is number 74 draws a defender, which but he's not legal. So I mean, even to draw that defender um, gives Alabama a good uh, deceptive play, and number 6 is going to have a straight shot right down the seam. All right. I cannot get this thing to play no more. All right, whatever. Let's move on. All right. So pass interference. We're gonna talk about pass interference now. Pass interference rule is among the toughest and most controversial calls that an official has to make. It is tough. So we're gonna go over some things to pay attention to, and what is and what isn't pass interference. I mean, in your handouts, in your workbook, it talks about the 6 things, the 6 categories of pass interference. So make sure you pay attention to that. But let's just go ahead and dive into this. All right. It is for pass interference if any player of A or B who interferes with an eligible opponent's opportunity to move toward the ball, catch, or bat the pass. All right. So remember, only 6 players on A is eligible, and all of Team B is eligible. And when they're eligible, they have a right for once that ball is thrown, everyone has a right to the ball. All right. Interference restrictions only apply to a forward pass that's beyond the neutral zone. So if the ball never crossed the neutral zone, there can't be a pass interference unless the ball crossed the neutral zone. And and if it's a second forward pass or an illegal forward pass, like he crossed the line of scrimmage, there cannot be pass interference. So this is where a lot of communication, because a back judge, he may call a pass interference foul because what happened between the two opponents were pass interference. But that's when it takes us communicating with each other, saying, "Yeah, but it was a second forward pass," or the runner was beyond the neutral zone. So we can pick that flag up and wave it off because it can't be pass interference because it was a illegal forward pass. All right. Untouched by B, in or behind the neutral zone, crosses the neutral zone. All right. So if it's touched by B, pass interference restrictions are off. We can bump, hit each other, knock each other out the way to get to the football. Now this is crazy. Hold on for a minute. I gotta get my thing back. There we go. All right, you're going to see uh, number 3 blocking downfield, and we see a pass interference. It wasn't 3, it was someone else. Hold on, let me see here. All right, number 2. Number 2 ran a pick play, and the back judge seen it, and he threw the flag for pass interference, which is fine, because he doesn't know what's going on at the line of scrimmage. However, the problem is the ball was caught behind the line of scrimmage. So the ball was caught on a 9-yard line or 6-yard line, whatever. So there could not have been pass interference because the ball was caught behind the line of scrimmage. So right now, we should be talking, right? We should be trying to figure this out. Which they're talking, they're trying to figure it out. But for somehow, it didn't work out, and we call pass interference. But it wasn't, because it was caught behind the line of scrimmage. Again, we now the other issue is we know that the head linesman is going to move his head linesman mechanic is going to move him to the goal line at the snap, and the line judge. So again, it's like, who responsibility is it on that pass play, on where it was caught at? Who's watching that? Who's determining if the pass went beyond the line of scrimmage? Again, these are different conversations that we should be having in pregame and working with our crew so that we won't have that misunderstanding, and we're talking. So either what happened is that, well, I couldn't tell if he caught it beyond the line of scrimmage or not, so they went with that he caught it beyond the line of scrimmage, neutral zone. All right. So pass interference restrictions on a legal forward pass begins for A with the snap. So for the offense, pass interference begins as soon as the ball is snapped. For defense, pass interference begins once the ball leaves the passer's hand, and obviously cross the neutral zone. All right. Pass interference restrictions are in effect for all A and B players until the ball is touched or the pass is incomplete, obviously. All right, so pass restrictions on a legal forward pass. So he's scrambling. We got the neutral zone here. He crossed the line of scrimmage, and he threw a forward pass. All right. So again, we can't have pass interference because the ball was thrown illegally. So those restrictions are out the way. All right. But you can have, but you have an illegal forward pass, which is a 5 yards. We play it down. All right. So here go another one. Remember, because the offense knows the play, pass interference for them begins at the snap. And this is one of the common plays you see on offense.
It was wide open.
And unlike in the first half when he had a chance
Watch the
for
slot
a big play to
receiver.
Sills and overthrew
sorry,
him,
watch
he just made sure he wasn't going to overthrow him.
Lane.
First and goal. Touchdown here, and Syracuse
So 13
can't
blocks.
just go into
and the pass
total
is thrown.
coast mode. Penalty flags thrown all over the place.
So
That
everybody
may
watching
be
their
against
keys.
Sills.
And we got
A little
pass
bit of a pick
interference.
play down there.
Yeah.
Pass interference, offense number 13. 15-yard penalty remains first down.
By the way, it doesn't matter. How in the world did Allison not at least hit his man for a touchdown? He was 100%
All right,
wide
so
open.
we got to watch out for those
Yeah.
pick plays.
It wouldn't have
Watch
There could be
mattered.
no
This is
blocking
as blatant
downfield
a
by
pick
B
play as you will see.
on a forward pass.
I mean, you had Sills watch the defender move, and
Now, here go another one, and it's like, it's a weak one, and like, it may have the same vibe, but would you call this pass interference? Although he was trying to do it and didn't do it, would you ignore it and give him a warning? Number 8. So look at number 8. Number 8 is trying to do a little pick play there. Did he not interfere? Again, a good question to ask. Would we call this a defensive pick play? All right. It is not forward pass interference if an unavoidable contact occurs when two or more eligibles are making a simultaneously bona fide attempt to move toward, catch, or bat the pass. Contact by A is immediate, made on a B lineman, and the contact does not continue beyond the expanded neutral zone. And C, the contact by B is obviously away from the direction of the pass. All right. So these are not forward pass interference. So let's look at this play here. So the defender made a play on the ball, although there's a little contact between him and the defender. I mean the receiver. No pass interference. Everybody has a right to. Eligible receivers have the right to occupy the same space as long as you're not going through the bite. Now, right, and he made a play on the ball. All right. So here go another play that happened when we did the adult game in Ocoee earlier this year, this season. And here go a call that one of our wing officials, our deep officials made. So right here, you see in this corner over here, in the far by the shield, we got red and white. White's defender, red's in the front. He is beat, but he's also looking for the pass as well. And what we have is the feet getting tangled up. And we have our side judge throwing a flag for pass interference. So the question is that pass interference? No. If feet get tangled up, and it may look bad, it may look real bad, it's not pass interference. All right. In order to be pass interference, now if he wasn't looking at the ball and he tripped, you may think it's pass interference, but feet being intertwined together on a pass play is not pass interference if both players are playing the ball. All right. So let's do some reverse wording here on what we just read before. So It is pass interference if contact occurs by an eligible without an attempt to move toward, catch, or bat the pass by two or more eligible. So, in other words, if I'm not looking, if I'm playing one eligible receiver and not trying to play the ball, then that's pass interference. Like the picture right here, you see his right hand grabbing his behind his jersey, and his left arm is on the arm. He's not playing the ball; he's playing the receiver. All right. Contact by A or B lineman continues beyond the neutral zone, span neutral zone. So if A goes downfield and make contact with B, ineligible downfield on a forward pass, it can be pass interference if the ball was thrown in that direction. And contact by B is in the direction of the pass. Now we see a pass here, and we see that the defender made contact, but they call it incomplete pass because the ball wasn't catchable. All right, in a National Federation High School, there is no such thing as not uncatchable. All right, so if there's any contact by any eligible receiver or any eligible on another eligible player, it's pass interference. Don't make a difference if it's catchable or not. It's pass interference. Now, if the contact happened away from the pass, like I'm on the right side and the ball thrown to the left, and I make contact with the receiver, it can't be pass interference. It can be illegal use of the hands. It can be holding. It can be a lot of other things. It just can't be pass interference. But to be pass interference, the contact has to be in the same direction as the football. However, if there is contact in the same direction, it's pass interference. Because it wasn't catchable, it doesn't make a difference. In the National Federation High School rules, catchable or not catchable, contact is pass interference. All right, so face guarding without contact in of itself is no longer considered an act of forward pass interference. So the pass, quarterback, it throws it, face shield contact, pass interference. All right. The face guarding, not the pass interference, but the contact with the face guarding makes it pass interference. All right. So a pass intentionally thrown into an area not occupied by an eligible offensive receiver, thrown incomplete to save loss of yardage or to conserve time. So intentional grounding is an illegal forward pass. However, right, so there's two exceptions to that. One, if a passer is in direct lineup with the snapper underneath or in the shotgun, if he catches the pass and immediately throw it to the ground to stop the clock, that's legal. Now, if he muffs it, fumbles it, it touched the ground, if he does it, it becomes intentional grounding. But if he catch it and then throw it to the ground, it is legal. Now, intentional grounding. Intentional grounding is legal as long as the passer is outside the free blocking zone. Now we know the free blocking zone is about 4 yards on either side of the snapper. Okay, so this play right here, blah blah blah. Look, he's in the middle of the field. Looks like under pressure, throws it away. All right, so he never got outside the free blocking zone when he threw the ball. All right, that would make it pass interference. I mean, intentional grounding. All right, here we go. He scrambles. He moves out. Now, in order for it not to be pass interference, I mean intentional grounding, the ball has to get back to the line of scrimmage or past the expanded neutral zone. He just throws it straight to the ground and never get it back to the original line of scrimmage. So that would make it intentional grounding. Now, if he would have thrown it up in the air and out of bounds, it would have been fine, but he threw it straight down. So a great way, because remember, it's got to be at least 4 yards on either side of the snapper. So we know if we got a passer moving outside that 4 yards, then he's eligible to throw away the ball and not receive a foul for intentional grounding. So if you look at the diagram here, we have landmarks on the field so that we can use to determine if the passer got outside of free blocking zone to be able to throw away. So it's very important when we spot the ball that we spot the ball in one of these 4 or 5 spots. You got the other hash, right? So make sure if you're the umpire or if you're spotting the ball, either you're going to spot it on the hash, you're going to spot it on a goal post, you're going to spot it on the goal, on a center post, or the upright. I'm sorry, the upright. So the hash mark, the uprights, or the post, or the upright, or the other hash. If you spot the ball in those spots, it makes it very easy for the referee to determine if the passer got outside of the free blocking zone, because all they got to do is go a little past 4 yards. So if we got it in the middle on the upright and he go past the single post, or he goes outside the hash, we automatically know that he's fine if he throws away the ball. All right. Also, with a new rule change this year is that only the one who originally receives the pass is entitled to throw it away. All right. So if I hand it off to my running back, although there have been no pass, that running back does not have the exception for intentional grounding. All right. So an illegal forward pass is a foul. Measurement is from the spot of the foul. The offended team can decline the distant penalty. All right, and choice of having the down count at the spot, or accept the action determined by the catch. So if there was an interception, they may decline the illegal forward pass. All right, a forward pass, legal or illegal, may be advanced when caught by any player of A or B. If the pass is caught simultaneously by 2 opponents, the ball becomes dead. If it's incomplete and the ball is dead, right? If it touches the ground, it goes out of bounds, and a player possesses the ball in air, and then first contact is on or outside the boundary line. If the pass is legal, the ball returns to the previous spot. All right. So a pass is incomplete, and the ball becomes dead in those 4 instances. All right. So we talked about this this checklist: snap, signal defense, and neutral zone and snap infractions. A, team A backs and all their movements, and P is team A is in legal position. So that's all we covered in Rule 7. And if y'all saw the Facebook page, I threw that in there. All right, and that is it.